Welcome to the CEO Stylist podcast, where two unlikely CEOs come together and rewrite the narrative of what it means to be a CEO stylist. Yovanka and Kirsten Harris are on a mission, giving stylists permission to join the movement of artists breaking the mold of what is meant to be for the hair industry and creating the life and schedule of their dreams. Fast forward through many failed attempts and lessons learned in the process, it's time to level up the playing field. It's time to call BS on what's been done before. Yovanka and Kirsten are ready to share it all, defying the odds of the industry and teaching you how to do the same.
Hi, friend. Thanks for pouring me a drink today.
Hey, girlfriend.
Cheers.
We're here. We didn't get
This
time.
is new.
This is new.
Is this because it's after hours?
This is after hours. We didn't get time to record during the day, so we're here. 5:30. No one's here but us.
I'll give you an 8. I'll give you an 8 out of 10.
Because I know I fucked up. I forgot the ice.
Yeah, that's
and the
it.
lemon.
But I gave you an extra point because
Thank you.
It's a bougie glass.
So, and I went to Kmart and I got it for you.
I feel really special. Thank you.
I know. Thank you so much. One of my girls said this glass looks like it's from Country Road. I said thank you.
I love Kmart.
I know Kmart is.
I did
my
a big
fave.
spend there. Anyway, that's not what we're talking. We're not talking about Kmart today.
Best
So
bargains.
this is like the after hours version. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a goss session because we're in a bit of a silly mood.
Yeah, the girl said, get in a silly mood, have a drink, relax.
I don't need to have a drink to be in a silly mood.
Yeah, you don't. I do.
Why is it you're taller than me and I'm taller than you?
Because I've got
when
my
I'm
foot
standing?
under my bum.
Okay.
And I'm sitting up and I've got a pillow. Mm-hmm. And you got longer legs than me.
Anyway, I'm stuck.
You're stuck? Get unstuck.
Get unstuck. Let's chat.
Let's chat. So what's the topic?
Well, we're going to have a bit of a goss session about bad business experiences.
And then we can laugh about it now, but I guess when we're in the moment, it's not so funny.
Oh, no. I mean, I've had a lot of them.
You have?
I don't want to mention my age in this episode because I feel like I'm always fucking talking about turning 50. I've had a few of them now.
You're not coping with it.
But I guess for the audience being a lot of hairdressers and can I go first?
Beauty as well.
Beauty. But
You can go first.
I didn't grow up in the hair industry, as we all know. And so I knew that, there's not a lot I could have done on the floor when I took over salons and took over the franchise business. So I wanted to learn everything I could
About hair.
about running them. And I thought, I'm not ignorant. Like I know I have a lot of experience outside of the industry, but my experiences at that point, and I was probably maybe about 4 or 5 years in to my journey, and maybe about 4 years.
And this is in Melbourne, right?
Well, no, actually, majority of it was here in Adelaide.
When you first started?
No, when I first started with Blow Dry Bar, I was in Melbourne. But then when I first I bought the business and moved, I essentially bought myself a job when I moved to Adelaide. So, and of course I made I guess the most glaring, and I don't want to sound obnoxious, but the most glaringly obvious thing that I found back then was, common mistakes, poor grammar, spelling errors in lots of content across the industry. And I guess I got to the point where I'm like, is that just acceptable standard in the industry, right? And there's a reason why I mention that because I'll come back. Just remember that comment. And okay. I didn't want to sound like, oh my God, my experience is so different. The business that I've come from, if you release something with a spelling error, a typo or whatever, you get bloody caned. So anyway, I thought, well, I need to know. So I used to go to Hair Expo and I'd sign up to all the business stuff. Like I'd sit there, Julie Pietadosi, lots of different business coaches and just listen and learn and take it all in. I joined groups, talked and networked with as many people as possible. Anyway, so went to Hair Expo this particular year, and sat in on this. I think the headline was something about not unfucking your finances, but it was something to do with...
Actual swearing in the title?
Yeah, it was. That's what got my attention. It was to do with commission and targets. And I thought, that's interesting. I need to learn about that. We had a really big team and, how to motivate them basically. So walked into this room and I noticed, I'd never heard of this person before. And I will, for the sake of this podcast, not mention her name. But I noticed I had already been in that same room and I was listening to a talk by Julie Pietadosi, which was amazing. And I noticed, I wanted to, because I'm an observer, I wanted to see if they knew each other. And they kind of like hello and walk past each other. Julie was getting out of the room, this person was coming in, and I thought, oh, well, I'm going to sit here and wait because I'm in this room for this next presentation. And so she started talking about, she had credible information in slides and started talking about all this information. She had testimonials up. There was a testimonial there from a friend who's a client now of mine. And I'm messaging her going, oh my God, you work with this person. I didn't know who she was. She's a business coach. And at the time, this person said, yeah, she's like helped me a lot. She's amazing. Okay, cool. So anyway, that was it. Like, got the information. So she delivered what she had said in the headline of whatever this course was. But at the end of it, she started talking about this business coaching. And I'd had nothing but bad experiences with business coaches, even
Before
in other
that.
industries that I've worked in. And we had a business coach in my early 30s. We had a business and we hired a business coach, and they were terrible. Like, we spent a lot of money. So I was already like, yeah. Anyway, this person kind of planted the seed that maybe a business coach should be an idea. And so I walked out of the room and there was the hard sell. So I didn't have an appetite for a business coach at that point.
You weren't looking for one.
Wasn't looking for one. And then I'm like, well, don't be so ignorant, Kirsten. You don't know everything about the industry. Maybe she's got credible information.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll bring something
And
to the
also
table.
because you asked that one person and they're like, yep, she's great.
She's amazing. She's done
helped
so
me.
much. Anyway, so next minute I'm up post Hair Expo. I'm getting a phone call and we're having this. And luckily I had been warned by my friend that she will do the hard sell. And at the end of the conversation, she'll ask you for a $5,000 deposit. So, but had I not been warned, can you imagine having that conversation going, like, if you want this, you have to do it now, because if we hang up...
Oh, see, that would make me run for the fucking hills if someone did
Lucky
that.
I was warned. So, one-time opportunity, I'm filling my spots. I've got limited, so that whole urgency sell. So I signed up. Anyway, paid the deposit, whatever it was, took her on face value for all this supposedly credible information that she put up. And I thought she was at Hair Expo, so they wouldn't have dickheads there.
True.
Turns out she was a complete dickhead. So in the first month, I get this collateral, we'll call it that, her file dump of information. And they're all files that, digital files that I get access to in her portal. And I'm reading through this information thinking, this is like, there's spelling errors everywhere. It wasn't reading correctly. So you can imagine
So
me,
amateur.
right? So amateur. That's a perfect description. And in that moment I went, do you know what? But I've had that experience so far in the hair industry. You just need to settle down, Kirsten. Like that is the sum total.
And not be the grammar police.
Yeah. So
Now, at this point, had you paid $5,000 or was it more?
that was the deposit.
How much was the actual course?
$900 and something a week.
So how much was it over? Like, did she say over a period of 6 months?
Well, it was supposed to be for a year.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
So how much did it add up to for a year? If it's...
Over $52,000.
That is insane.
Yes. Yeah. So, and the biggest mistake I made, if we fast forward a little bit, I didn't do any research on her because I relied on the fact that she was there at Hair Expo. There's no way
She was with a credible...
there's no way that they would let someone like that in to deliver content that wasn't even, in the end, like, it was a fucking shit show. But so getting back to this, so in the first month, I'm like, you know what, Kirsten, it's fine. That's the industry. Like, you stop being get off your high horse. It's fine. Like, that's the way it is. It's just a couple of typos. Kept going. We had maybe in the first 2 months of being in this course, she brings everyone together in a room. I've done lots of personal development courses, and this person at this stage, she was early 30s, and she stood up on stage and took great pleasure in pulling people down publicly. And that was like a bit of a warning sign for me because I
Red
thought,
flag.
fuck, you get off on this stuff. Anyway, even today, I've made some of the greatest friends out of that experience because I sat back and watched other people's body language because I instantly went, I don't belong here. Like this is
It just didn't feel right.
It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And she wanted to relish in this coach. She wanted to relish
Gave her a power.
a power trip, but she wanted to relish in other people's bad situations and make them feel like a piece of shit by being on stage. So it was just like day one, I'm like, oh my God, what have I signed myself up to here? My very good friends now, Jamie and her late husband, Ado, they were in the room.
Oh, so that's when you met.
That's how I met them,
Yeah, she's
because
lovely.
every time she'd make a comment, then I'd go, I would never say that. I'd look across at Ado, who wasn't like, he was there in support of his wife, and I'd watch his
Like
comment.
she's a tosser.
Oh my God. We kept making eye contact. The whole time I'm like, I don't belong here. What have I done? What have I done? Buyer's regret was month 2. And so this just continued on, and this you would have these so for the money that you would spend, right, you would think that you would get this one-on-one coaching, and I'm waiting for the coaching component to come in. There was no coaching component. It was like group calls, and then I'd get on this group call wherever I was traveling, and I'd listen to the conversations and the questions that were being asked of this coach. I'm like, I don't belong. Like, I know that it was important questions, but
you weren't getting anything out of it.
It wasn't. I needed something very, very different. And so we were about 6 months in, and I was starting to ask questions and get feedback from other members, because probably at that stage we'd been to 2 of these events, and I had absolutely no faith in this person at this point. There was no coaching. And I was probably at that point a good $38,000 down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you really got nothing out of
nothing except
nothing
a
that you
bunch
can say
of
added
Microsoft
value.
files that were poorly written. Here's the worst part.
crazy.
So she put a hand. She said that all her IP was something that you can plug and play into your salon, and part of it was a whole HR pack. And I thought, this is really interesting, because I was reading this letter, because I thought, you're going to distribute legal information, you've got to make sure that that's up to date. Like, if you're going to put your name on it. Anyway, I'm reading through it, and I'm seeing this bogus salon name, and then
She forgot she didn't edit this salon's
she
name.
didn't edit it.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
so then that led me on my
She
own
plagiarized.
my own little research. And of course, my sister's a lawyer, and I had to go to her and say, I'm in this
Can I flag
situation.
something?
I've signed a contract. I need to get the fuck out of this contract. And this is where I think she said, just send it all to me. Because I said, I've got this like employment contract that she's produced as a template that we're supposedly allowed to use. I would never touch it with a 10-foot buckle. Can you please just have a look at it and show me how I can get out of it? Because I want to stop my payments with this person. I was on like this weekly direct debit. It was like $995 a week. And I think at that point there was this whole private group chat going, and there were salon owners in there that had already spent $80,000-$90,000 with this.
And at this
person.
point, you reaching out to other people, was anyone else feeling what you were feeling?
Yeah, there was a whole group of them.
Okay.
Because
So
she
it wasn't
wasn't
just
delivering.
you.
No.
Yeah.
It was just like this conversation needed to start. Anyway, and my friend that at the time who her figures and testimonial was used, she was well and truly on the way out. Like, she'd seen all sorts of cracks. And so anyway, my sister saw some of the documentation. She said, and she rang me. She said, "Why? How fucking stupid are you to sign this?" I went, "I know." And I explained it. She went, "You're better than that." I went, "I know. Anyway, help me get out of this." So she said, "Well, just stop paying." So I did. I stopped the payments with the direct debit service, and it started this email warfare back and forth. And I guess...
Hang on, between you and her, or does she have a team?
She has a team.
It was probably her sitting behind keyboard
of course.
warrior.
And then this
pretending.
divorce lawyer that suddenly morphed into a contract lawyer. I then get a knock on the door, and I'm served papers.
By her?
Yeah, I'm served. And I went, okay, game on, bitch. Like, you're going to go down in a screaming mess, because I'm just going
That just screams scammers when you have an issue and then they gaslight you and you're the problem.
I think I need a drink.
I think I need a sip
Anyway. So you missed your mouth. See, it gives me trauma. Anyway, So all I'm thinking is like, oh my God, I've just spent all this money and absolutely got.
But wait, now she's coming after you.
Now I'm getting a knock on the door from a document server. And anyway, when I research her lawyer, it's a divorce lawyer somewhere in northern New South Wales. I went, okay. So I phoned the lawyer. I'm like, well, she said, I can't talk to you directly. I went, well, I've just got correspondence from you and I'm happy to represent myself. Here is the information. She virtually hung up on me and she said, you need to deal with this in writing. Within a matter of 2 weeks, this coach had served multiple people.
In the group.
Multiple people in the group. We then decided to try and do a class action against her and it got shut down because she found a loophole by making an offer because she used scare tactics, because she relied on the fact that people had signed a contract and therefore she was entitled to the balance of what her contract value was worth. And I'm like, nah, fuck her, I'm going to ride this one out. And so did my friend as well. Actually, my friend was being sued for a whole lot more because she was then accused of talking about
But was
copying.
she actually suing it for breaking the
contract?
Breaking the contract.
Yeah, and she was suing my friend for copying her, apparently.
Oh,
Plagiarism, like
Speaking
some
of
obscene amount of money. Anyway.
Meanwhile, she forgot to edit someone else's salon out of her and
It
she's
was so
accusing
bad.
someone else of plagiarizing.
But it was even worse than
God.
that. It was her own salon. She was a bankruptee. There was like, she was no 6-time figure. Like she had no claim to her name
So
whatsoever.
did you ever, like in your, because I know how resourceful you are, did you ever end up finding someone that's been burnt by her outside this group?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah. So what had happened, because we became really vocal as a group and she really wanted to try and shut that down, because I do genuinely believe we could have done some damage had we not been respectful to go, you know what, we just need to deal with this and get rid of it. We tried the class action. It got shut down because they did a deal with one member that meant that it compromised the whole class action process. They knew that that was going to be the loophole, which was going to be pretty obvious. So someone settled and then therefore the whole thing is compromised. So we all then had to hire our own lawyers. I didn't. People went into mediation. We all had to have mediation. Mine didn't get resolved.
So was your sister your lawyer?
No, I
So you had
represented
to-
myself.
Okay, you
Yeah.
can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Represented myself, did this mediation, and didn't settle. And a lot of people that went into mediation, they put so much pressure on that they
They
paid
backed.
money to get themselves out of the agreement. I'm like, nah, fuck her. Anyway, a year to the day, I get a knock on the door. It's the same document server. I went, fuck, not you again. And he went, I was here, like, I said, literally.
He's
a
like,
year
what is this lady up to? She's getting served twice.
literally a year ago.
No.
And I'm like, just hand it over, like whatever. And I just went,
And you ripped it.
ripped it up. I'm like, and he said, you can't do that. I went, yeah, I can. I don't care. Like she can
You knew
take
it
me
was
to
coming
court.
from her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was from him. Like he said who it
The
was
same
from.
one.
Anyway, I'm like, nah. And I said, do you want to hear the story? I said, I'm joking.
No, I'm joking. Here, have a drink.
So I just sent an email to the lawyer saying, I've received it. Your document server would say I've received it. Will not be settling on this. If your client wants to move further, they would have to, take it to court, which I knew she wasn't going to do because she had no money
She
to
was
do
just
it.
scare tactics.
Yeah, it was just scare tactics. So
So you backed out.
yeah, that was probably like
So no wonder this makes so much sense because for so long I kept saying, "Oh my God, you should be
absolutely not.
a business coach." And every time I would say it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a word that would literally come out of your
It
mouth."
was because it gives me the ick
It
even
does.
thinking about it, because this person that I went, oh my God, she's credible. She's at Hair Expo. They wouldn't have idiots there. She's got all these claims to fame. She's talking about turning the smaller salon into a 6-figure. It was all absolute bullshit. None of it was true. Like she
God, how
wasn't,
does she
she
even
was a
get in the
no-name.
circles?
Yeah, well then I think what had happened, the industry ran her out in the end and she ended up targeting another industry.
Yeah, 100. Because then they run that scam in a whole nother
And she was part of
circle.
the scam.
Yeah.
This whole sales scam where they get them. She was in this group, apparently. It was based in Melbourne. She'd fly into Melbourne for it. And they would sit them and lock them in a room and make them make these sales calls in their own business. And they'd have to
crazy.
put these numbers. I would get these phone calls from her when she's in these groups. And you could hear all these other voices in the background. I'm thinking, and she's trying to, what day? She rang me one day with, she wanted to put me in a leadership program, but she wanted another $350 a week for it. And it was going to be putting a charity event together, and she just wanted us to do all her dirty
Do you know,
work.
it's so sad. It's actually so sad because of all the good business coaches out there that could potentially
Absolutely.
be helping people.
Yeah.
But also between you and I, I've had business coaches as well. And how many times have we spoken about, and you warned me about a couple, I'm not mentioning any names, but it's true. And remember, they're just some of them are so highly manipulative, and they know exactly what they're doing. You keep missing your mouth. Kmart cups aren't working so well.
Maybe there's a leak in it.
Maybe there's a crack in it.
Yeah.
But we've had experiences both, and we both had to pull back, and you know, they think that people don't know what they're doing, but they do get caught out eventually.
They do. Oh, this
And
was
especially
like,
yours is an extreme case.
that was a lesson. Like, it was a very expensive lesson. I certainly made some interesting contacts out of it, and I learned a lot about contract law in that point,
For
because I
sure.
really
And
wanted
lucky you did have your sister in your back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, but she was just full judging me though. You
She was full judging you. She's like, you're a
Are
dumb
you,
bitch. I'm not
she
gonna
just said, "Are
help
you fucking insane? What are you?" I went, "Well, like, I don't pretend I'm going to know everything about the hair industry."
course.
She said, "Seriously?" I went, "I know."
But
Okay,
it's good
so it
you
was my
sharing
lesson.
this story, because it always happens. Like, because you know, I listen to cult. Like, I love hearing other people's story about cults and multi-level marketing. It's the same thing, and they don't attract stupid people.
No,
It's smart people that get caught up in it.
that's it. Yeah, and I think she was part of a cult. Like, I know she's still around. I know she's still got the same strategy. It's just in a
So
different
if you
industry.
Googled her name, she's still
Oh,
around.
that's the other thing. She changes her name.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
There should
yeah.
be
So
some
she's had
group.
her name changed.
I swear, what you should start a group that exposes people.
So, you see on the hair and beauty sites where they say, "Can you
She
recommend
pops
a
up?
coach?"
Don't tell me she still pops
Oh,
up.
for a while there she was.
And would you jump in and say, please don't?
No, but my friend and I in the background, we made really good friendship out of it, and she is a business coach now. I'm like, I dare you to coach. Well, she can't say anything because she's a coach now herself. I'm like, how
But
the
you
fuck
wouldn't
do
want
people
someone-
recommend her? I said she has them under. She must drug them.
I think it's people that probably don't really know what they're doing, but
No.
you came to this, you know your shit.
I just
know,
knew.
you really
So my
do.
lesson, apart from the obvious, it was my gut around that going. In that instant, I went, "Oh my God, I've made a mistake." Like,
And she probably targeted a good industry, because most hairdressers wouldn't have picked up. Because a lot of hairdressers, I'm one of those that can't spell. Do you know what I mean? So the red flag that you saw.
yeah, but
that-
she was a hairdresser.
No, what I'm saying, other hairdressers that
yeah.
were receiving the information wouldn't have picked up on that.
Of course.
Do you
and
know what I
that's
mean?
where
So that
I
was
went,
your red flag.
That was my red flag, and that's why I went, "Stop being so judgmental." Like,
That was your first one. There was other ones. God, no wonder. That makes so much sense where you're like, no, I'm not a business coach, and I don't want business coaches.
Oh, my husband was having a freak out because, I've got to add this to it. This is how bad it got in this cult-like environment. It'd be like a 3-day intensive that you would have to go to, and on day 3 she would make you bring your staff. So of course I had to pick and choose who I'd bring to this, and it was almost like she'd get them in a room and she would like address them going, "Do fucking better, like you need to do this," and she would like,
Oh my God, berate them?
yes, it was awful.
But do better for what? Would she find out what they weren't
Well,
doing?
she needed our team to do better, so we would keep paying her this obscene amount of money.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
what it was. She wasn't
Of
doing
course.
anything to help them. She was
Yeah.
berating them.
Yeah, interesting. To make them feel like you guys needed
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make them feel like they're a piece of shit, because that kind of just elevated her. On
And it's
her
so funny
stage.
because this goes to a couple of things that we've been to where it was that kind of intense, military.
I think that's why I get triggered
It
by
is triggering. It is. But now that we know it, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
Because it is part of that mind control.
Yes.
Where they have to
Yeah.
break you down. And I get it. We speak about you have to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In order to build yourself back up. But there's also a sick thing that people don't realize, that they're breaking you down in order to manipulate you and make you feel like they're the only ones that have what they have to be able to help you.
Absolutely. And she just did it
That's
in a way,
sick.
like elevating herself. And she didn't have the life experience, and she certainly didn't have the good business experience she claimed to have, to be able to stand there on stage and put people in a vulnerable position. And that's what I didn't like.
Yeah. And since then, have you ever worked with a business coach?
No.
No?
No.
Apart from going to Cohen Ray.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. But I'm not in a coaching course with him.
And I just want to ask you this question because we know at the end of Cohen Ray there was a little bit of sales tactic.
Totally, the whole 3
And we
days.
knew it was coming. The third day was heavily involved on signing up to K2 Elite.
Yeah.
Is that something like moving forward now that you've worked with a lot of people that work in his community? Can you see the difference of how they operate?
Total numbers. So he the credibility factor, like you either like or dislike someone like him. He's in your grill. So, and once upon a time, I wasn't a fan of his style.
Interesting.
But
A lot of people say that.
Yeah, but I've come full circle. I've probably developed a taste for it more now. Maybe I'm ready. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe he hasn't changed. I've changed.
Maybe you've changed. I would like that one. That's very powerful.
Yeah, but he's got credibility. So he doesn't stand up there and talk fest. Like he does that, but he also backs it with humans getting up and telling their own story, talks about numbers,
There's a few different... He's not up there selling something by himself.
The whole, the truth is that whole NISI program was 3 days of getting us prepared to move through.
And to be
the
fair,
next stage.
he has had a stroke. So we were also warned that he's very different because I went and saw him, I think, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like revving. Like,
I'm not sure I understand.
My watch.
no, she's backing us up. He was very different.
Yeah.
3-4 years ago
It was a lot.
he was a lot easier to take because he's still had moments of intensity, but a lot different.
Yeah.
But would you? So now that you know what you know, like you said,
would I spend that
would
kind
you
of
spend
money
that kind of money
on him? On that? Or not on him? It's on
that program?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, that's good.
I've got friends in it, so
That's right.
and I can see the results. But none of it is a magic pill. You have to do the work.
Correct.
So, and he says that you can spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a course, but it's not like someone's going to do this shit for you.
But what I like about his is if you are going to do it, the whole point of you working with them and them choosing to select you is that they hold you accountable.
And it's a
So
community.
why would you spend that money?
Yeah.
If you're not going to, like even with this one, you had a community, but you didn't have access.
To be fair, I had a community of people that you can whinge to about problems.
For
the
sure.
biggest difference is, to afford a program like that.
You can
Yeah.
you can winch to people on the street without having to pay.
Yeah.
Or in your circle without having to pay that.
So
For
to
sure.
go into a program like Curl and Raise, same money, you've got that community and there's quality people. I'm sure there's people in there that, probably aren't liked, but there's quality business
everywhere.
owners in there.
For
That's
sure.
the difference.
That's true.
The tactic that this business coach used a few years ago was she attracted people out of desperation. I don't know what it was for me. It was just for
She
me,
knew
it was
exactly
like,
where to put her claws in. They've got
She didn't like me though,
because you knew.
because I challenged her a little bit, and then when I
course.
figured out this whole
Because
employment
they can
letter,
feel who they can manipulate. Remember the one which we won't say where I went to, where the person didn't really speak to me either, because I wasn't buying into their crap.
Yeah.
They can pick up on it
Yeah.
as well.
There you
Well,
go.
interesting. Well, there you go.
So
that
for
was
a
your
smart
bad.
girl like me, I wrote
Listen, we all have
off a
them.
big fat amount of money.
We all have them. It's all come back. It's all come back. My turn.
Yeah, go.
Oh, I'm
Is
like
yours going to be
sweating.
funny? Oh no,
No.
it's not. You're sweating.
I'm like sweating because I'm actually hot. I put the heater on. Then you told me it was 23 today.